Hi, Rabbi.
Hi, Jonathan. It's so nice to have you, and I'm so excited about our event today. Tell us about it.
Sure. Well, I have been really enjoying making challah every week, and one of my favorite fans that I've been making challah for is your dad. So it brings so much joy and pleasure to me that I am committed to making challah from now on. I want to share my recipe and really the whole process with you and with our community. Spread out on this countertop are all of the ingredients that I use that I am going to share with you that go into this recipe. So I start with flour. In this bag, I have just ordinary granulated white sugar, sea salt, vegetable oil. I have a measured cup of water, and I have some vanilla, and I've already scrambled 2 eggs in this bowl. So I'm going to assemble the dry ingredients first. Oh, and don't forget, you need to have quick rise instant yeast, and generally I leave that in the freezer all the time. For measuring, I have a cup, I have a third of a cup, I have a tablespoon and a teaspoon measure, and then I have an actual tablespoon and an actual teaspoon, which you'll see why they're so important. I'm going to assemble the dry ingredients first, and I'm going to use 4 cups of flour, and this makes 2 challah. So let me get this going.
And Jonathan, is that a special kind of flour, a bread flour, or anything like that?
It's flour for baking. You'll need a surface to work on after you mix all of these ingredients, because you need to knead the dough and get it into shape before the first rise. Now comes half a cup of sugar. Still need another tablespoon of sugar, so I'm going to leave that for now. I take a teaspoon of the sea salt. I'm just going to mix up the dry ingredients. So I've got a measured third of a cup of vegetable oil, and I've got 2 eggs that are beaten. Now I'm going to add a tablespoon of vanilla into the eggs, just save myself a step here. Okay, now we need to prepare the yeast mixture. So I need a tablespoon of sugar. This recipe comes from my dear friend, Michael Pockroy. Michael is a retired physician, originally from Zimbabwe. Tablespoon of yeast, mix it up. Now this takes a few minutes for the yeast to react. We want it to form kind of a frothy top to it, a frothy crown. Yes, you want the water to be a little bit warm so that it activates the yeast. Well, this is forming a froth, which it's not a big froth because the water was sitting here for a while, but that's to give you an idea. So and I am going to mix all of these ingredients. So in goes the vegetable oil, in goes the egg with the vanilla, in goes the yeast mixture. And now I gotta mix this up. It's gonna become very thick. As soon as it's more or less one ball of dough, so now I'm going to get it on the counter. And what I do is I take a teaspoon of flour and spread it on the counter. Everything that's in this bowl now is going to go onto the surface of the counter and get mixed together. I need to use the bowl again after I mix this up a bit. And you'll see I put a drop of vegetable oil in the bottom of the bowl. Now I'm going to mix this and push it and shove it. Get everything all mixed in. Of course, it's very important to start with a very clean counter.
And when you're kneading it, is there a certain amount of time, or is it just a feel? Or?
Nope, it's just a feel. You want to feel that you got it all mixed up. And it should be pretty sticky too. Get it all in here. Okay, I need a little bit more flour. If it gets very sticky, you just add a little bit of flour. I am going to pour about a tablespoon of vegetable oil in this bowl, tiny drop. And this is ready to go and sit here and allow it to rise. And this is going to take about 2 hours. What I do is I clean up the counter with wet paper towel, and then I use the wet paper towel and put a wet cover over it, and the dough is going to rise. You want it to pretty much double in size before we start our next step. So that's the first step. Hi, Rabbi. Thanks for joining me again. The challah it's about doubled in size, and it's going to come out of the bowl. But first, I need to prepare the surface again. I'm going to use the teaspoon and spread flour. And out we go. So I'm going to knead it some more. And it's a lot bigger. This is double in size. Some people use a scale because in the next step, we need to get this into 6 sections so that we can braid it. I'm just going to do it by sight. So I use it's a rubber spatula type of thing. I'm going to just estimate half. And then into thirds. So I'm just getting these 3 even. And then put more flour out. I want to roll this out 12 to 16 inches. It really depends each time, but a little more than 12 inches each. It's no longer quite as sticky. By the way, I've taken out a baking sheet and I use parchment paper. I don't grease the sheet or anything. It's just the amazing features of parchment paper. This really is a fun hobby to have. It's a wonderful tradition. It's very, very rewarding. And it's such a treat to have your own challah every single week.
It's like somebody's hair.
perfect.
It's beautiful.
I'm going to braid the second one, and then I'm going to let it set. Now it rises again for another 2 hours. I have preheated the oven to 405, convection oven, and the challah has risen for the past 2 hours or so, so I don't know if everybody can see that. And what I'm going to do is I've melted a little bit of butter, about a tablespoon of butter, and Nancy taught me this. I am going to fold a piece of paper towel, and I'm going to paint some melted butter onto the challah.
Now, Jonathan, if one does not have a convection oven, what degree would you suggest baking at?
You know, I would do 400. Okay, I am painting on a tablespoon of melted butter, and Nancy's reminding me you could use another egg and you could just paint some egg on. But I think the butter gives it a very sweet taste. Okay, it is painted and it's going in the oven, and I'm putting it in for 17 minutes.
Hi again. Wow. Oh my gosh. They look beautiful.
And it smells so good in the house now, too.
Oh, wow.
Smells like Shabbat.
Yeah. Well, we can always use a little more Shabbat, right?
Oh, no problem for me.
Yeah. Thank you both so much.
We love it.
It's fantastic. I can't wait to share it with our CyberSynagogue community.